So here's the big question for 2024. Did you have the time of your life? Some of you will say no, some of you will say yes. But I've got the scoop.
Hey, good morning, Steve. I was thinking, unless my second grade math has changed, I'm pretty sure there's still only 100 pennies in a dollar. Let me know if that's not so.
It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Hey guys, it's your favorite mortgage guy, Steve Rockefeller here. And you know what? Here's the thing. I say this every time at the end of the month, but now I'm going to say it for the last time of 2024. Can you believe we're here already? 2024 is over. Now, by the time you get this, there'll be a couple of days left before the end of the year because you get this on Fridays. So I'm going to give you all the end of the year stuff. But first, I must have had 80 of you send me a text, an email, even call me and say, Steve, you've got to wear that sweater one more time. I'm going to retire it. Here you go. Look, this is not real hair. This is an Amazon 1995 special. I got it a couple weeks ago on a whim, and it's been great. People actually come up and touch my fake hair here. Anyway, so let's get back to what happened in 2024. But first, before I do that, let's talk about your questions here. All right. Tell us one thing that we might not know about you, Steve. That question has come up a couple times this year. I always put those kind of questions off to the end of the year. And I try to share all the information I can. I don't really know, what I don't know. But one thing you might not know, I never learned how to write in cursive. If that was a long, long, long time ago. I know more about cancer than I should know because of my son Nick, and this is the first year that we'll be celebrating the holidays without him. But that's about all I can tell you of one thing you might not know about me. So listen, let me go on with the rest of the questions. I hope that answered your question. And oh, by the way, yes, I do have a family. I of course, I lost Nick this year to cancer. I have my daughter Avery, she's 26, and then I have my son Evan. He is 24, and he's in cybersecurity. Avery's going back to school to be an occupational therapist. She should graduate sometime in 2026. Okay, there's enough about me and my family. Now, next question: can I afford a home? Well, here's the thing. I don't know the answer to that question. I know affordability is a tough option right now for people. It's just because of economic times. We go through this about every 10 to 15 year housing cycle where there's an affordability problem. Right now, we are seeing that because, the average home costs about $350,000. So here's what I want you to know. You got to call me. Let's talk about it. If you're going to get ready, then you got to call me to get ready. If you've got credit problems, I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Let me just jump into it. If you've got credit problems, we can help you rescore that. I talked to at least 3 people this week who had credit scores that were first-time home buyers that had scores lower than the allowable first-time home buyer program. The problem with that is that when you have those low credit scores, you cannot get those scores up yourself. I don't care if you get an attorney. I don't care what you do. I can help you with that because I work with a professional organization. Is it free? Absolutely not. You're going to spend 50 to 60 bucks a month, but you'll get your credit score up in about 4 to 6 months. So, can you afford a home? The only way you're going to find out is if you call me. What are rates doing? And is it time to refinance? I'm going to talk a little bit more about rates in the segment here. Is it time to refinance? Absolutely, it is. Rates are at least 1% better than they were a year ago. You've got a ton of equity. You've also picked up a bunch of debt, and I know you have around the holidays. All you got to do is look at the national news. Average credit card debt, $40,000. Average interest rate on a credit card, 24.99%. That's average. There are some that are higher. Some that might be a little bit lower, but I doubt it. But if you've picked up a bunch of non-tax deductible debt, let me help you free up your cash flow by using your equity to make it tax deductible. I've got all these calculators, blended rate calculators, is it time calculators, net worth calculators. I've got all these calculators I can help you with. So guys, I really need your help. You just tell your friends they've got to call me. Now, should I make an extra payment to pay down my loan? Guys, here's what I'm going to tell you. If you make one extra payment a year, it's going to save 4 years on your loan. That's if you do it every single year. If you only send 20 here, 40 there, you're doing nothing. You're not putting a dent in a couple $100,000 loans with 20 or $50. If you take your payment, and let's say your payment's $2,400 a month, okay, the math works. You send an extra $200 a month at the end of the year, that's one extra payment. Yeah, you're going to save 4 years off your loan. But if you do that every so often, you're not putting a dent in your loan. The only real way to put a dent in equity is to do a shorter term loan. But then if you do a shorter term loan, like a 15 or a 10-year loan, you're going to have this high payment. And there's no like, oh, I don't want to make the high payment this month if you've got that term of a loan. It's always better to look at a 30-year loan and make extra payments. But guys, again, you got a $500,000 loan. You're not going to put a dent in that loan anytime soon. Steve, tell me about renovation loans. Okay, I've talked about this for about the past 4 months. I'll tell you again, if you've got a house that you own, but you want to move, but now you're finding that you can't move, well, yeah, then this program is a good program for you because you can renovate your home for $150,000 using your equity. Probably still won't have PMI, and you're going to improve the value of your house. Now, can you buy a house and renovate it? Yes, it's called a renovation purchase loan. So either way, you could do this. Let's say you've got an aging relative, like a mother or a father or both of them. You can also add them at a mother-in-law, father-in-law suite, or whatever you want to call it. They call it an accessory dwelling unit, ADU. You can add that to your house. So hopefully that answers your questions. Did you have the time of your life in 2024, like the song said? Guys, you know what? 2024 was an unusual year for a lot of reasons. I'm not going to talk about how we were misled by the government stats and who was running the country because nobody really knew and some of the problems we had. You know what? We made it through it. And like I've told you in the past, I've loaned in all kinds of administrations, all kinds of economies. We make it through it every time. The country is not going to file bankruptcy. Yes, there's going to be mudslinging every single weekend on the news. We made it through it, and it doesn't matter. Is there optimism in the future? There's 100% optimism, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. So did you have the time of your life in 2024? I hope you did, because you know what? I suffered the loss of my own son who passed away February 1st, but I still had a great 2024 in spite of that tragic loss. Okay, so it's the end of the year, and I hope you guys had a great Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate. The market makers always look for the end of the year newsworthy stories. And here's what we found. Excuse me. Store closings. So if you look up here or over here or wherever, Katie, and by the way, Katie, my assistant, she's my marketing assistant. She's the one that helps me put this together. So she really makes me look good with all the stuff on the side and wherever this is being posted. So look at this closing time. Read that right there. Closings up 70% in 2024 versus 2023. Now, CoreSite, that's a research organization. They're spot on. Look at that. Businesses are closing 70% more of them in 2024. Look at this. Party City closing 850 stores. Big Lots, 580. Family Dollar. CVS, Advance Auto. Walgreens going to close 1,200 stores. Macy's, Rue 21. I think that's a clothing store. American Freight. I don't know what that is. When the hell does 7-Elevens close? Well, here's why. There's 492 7-Elevens closed because Buc-ee's, Royal Foods, Royal Farms, and Wawa's are popping up everywhere. American Freight, Cons. Yeah, there's a Cons in this area. They're closing. I don't know what DK is. LL Flooring, that used to be called Lumber Liquidators, Foot Locker, and the Express. And there's others that are closing. This doesn't even take into consideration the restaurants that are closing. Just think about this. Think about the unemployment it's going to create. Now, guys, you've got college kids that are looking for jobs, but they can't find full-time employment. They can find 38-hour employment, which means they don't have benefits, which means you're going to have to go to the open market for what they called Obamacare, but it's just healthcare. That's what my daughter had to do. She's 26. She's going to occupational therapy school. She has to have health insurance. So we went to the open market. It's like $200 a month. It's pretty good. It's $3,000 deductible. It's great insurance. So just think about all these restaurants that are closing. What's in store for mortgage rates? You ask that question every week. So I want to talk about what's in store for 2025 because at the beginning of the segment, you asked me that question. So currently the market is a bit skittish, waiting for the transfer of power. Nothing is happening right now because all the markets are closed. Remember, there's just a few days left before the ball comes down and 2025 will be here. But the media will have you believe that the January the 20th is the day will sunshine all over the markets and life should be much better. Here's the thing. This is what I'm going to tell you. Remember, it takes about a year for current administration politics to play through to the next administration. You're hearing this contest between, this administration signing all this legislation. The next administration is going to sign some different legislation on January the 21st. Listen, at the end of the day, here's what I'm going to tell you. I agree what we've been through for the past 4 years. It may be time for an update in all the administrations. They're talking about a lot of different updates, eliminating some positions, updating term limits. And I'm 100% for updating term limits. Nothing against anybody, but we don't need somebody who's not cognitively aware of what's going on in the Congress or the Senate trying to manage. And, I'm talking about Dianne Feinstein. She's an icon. I would 100% agree with that. But at the end, people were saying she didn't know. They rolled her in a wheelchair and she didn't know what she was voting for and what she wasn't voting for. We need to limit those time limits. That's just my personal opinion. It's also based upon some of the data that I've read about. But based upon the economic data that's out there, mortgage rates are expected to remain stable for at least the first and the second quarters. No one can truly speculate right now, or at least to the end of February, as to what the rest of the year holds. But what I do know is this: the stabilization of mortgage rates that we're seeing right now, it's always a great time to buy a home. Mortgage rates are expected to fit everybody's budget. They always do. People always complain, but people will buy houses. Like I said last week, you know what? One of my customers shot himself in the foot, disqualified himself for buying a house because he decided that BMW had this unbelievable sale on this last year's model, 2024 model, and it's the end of December, so they're liquidating their inventory. Well, now he doesn't qualify for a house, but he's got a nice looking BMW. And listen, I don't mean to call him out. He already knows I've called him out, but get your priorities aligned. You want the tax deductibility? Do you want to pick up the equity on your house? Do you want your kids? Do you want your friends, your family, everybody to prosper in America? Because let me tell you, our country's a solid country, but the stabilization of mortgage rates, we're seeing rates right now in the high sixes, low sevens on conventional rates. Now, it depends on the product type, your down payment, your credit score. A lot of other factors play into the interest rate. You already know this because we talk about it throughout the year. In government loans, that's VA and FHA and USDA, those rates are in the mid sixes because government loans carry PMI or a VA funding fee or some sort of administration fee with USDA. So rates are stable right now. Are you going to see a $1,500 payment? No. Are you going to see a $2,000 payment? You might get close to that. But guys, listen, let's wake up to reality. Go look at the cost of apartments. They're $2,000 a month. So your mortgage payment is going to be on par with that, and it's tax deductible. Now, what's going to happen with home prices? Well, they're expected to continue to rise at about 4%. New homes, they're always a good value. You pick everything except for your neighbors. Remember this: for every $10,000 that you spend or you don't spend, it's $56 per month. One thing I will tell you is everybody that tried to be cheap this year, I warned them, you get out of this contract, you're going to have to spend $50,000 more. Do you know that 99.9% of those people ended up spending $50,000 or $100,000 more in the next house they looked at because they waited and the price went up? Guys, here's what I want you to know. I've been here for you for over 30 years. I'm looking forward to serving you, your clients, your friends, your family, your coworkers, or anybody else that needs some sort of mortgage advice or would like to look at buying a house. I really want you to consider referring me next year. I need your business. I want your business, and I want to earn your business. So guys, here's what I'm also going to tell you. A few short days from now, that ball is going to drop, and we're going to look back on 2024 and go, whew, it's over. We made it through it. You know what I'm looking forward to? The rest. Whatever's going to happen after that, 2025, 26, 27. Because you know what? We all made it through 2024. We've all made it through other years. So guys, until next year, I want to wish you a happy, happy New Year from me and my family. Bye now.
100 pennies in a dollar, not 105.
It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.